Good morning. You're watching Much Ado About Something today, and I'm Donna. And today we're talking about kitchen compost. Is it worth it? I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was asking me, he said, is it worth it to compost your kitchen scraps, to worry about all that, and to take the time to do all that? And I told him I think it really is worth it. People are busy. It's busy to get in and prepare your meal anyway. More or less have to think about what you're going to do with all the scraps. But once you get into a habit, it can become just as simple and natural as anything else that you do. It's like recycling. You have to look at the long-term rewards of what you're doing, all the little things that you do during the day that adds up to savings or conserving. And composting is the same way. If the more convenient you make composting, the more likely you are to do it. Here in my kitchen, I was just cutting up some carrots. And I have this little bowl here. And this is our little compost bowl for the kitchen right now. I don't have a real big one, but my compost pile is so close to my door that I don't need a big one. I've made it really convenient. If you walk through, right here is the door. Not just a few steps away from the kitchen. And my compost pile, or compost bin, is just right here, right over the edge of the deck. And so it's nothing for me to just step off of out here on the deck and just dump my compost bowl, my little bowl that I keep in the kitchen. Now you can find a nice fancy container. I've had the fancy compost bins with the little supposed to be odor and gnat free lids, and I've used little buckets and all kinds of things, but now I'm just down to a bowl. So whenever I'm fixing a meal or whatever, I have a compost bowl, and that's what I use on a regular basis, and I come out here and dump it in this little compost bin that we've had for years. It's just a little plastic compost bin that sits right beside of the deck here. It's not anything fancy about it. This is how it looks on a daily basis, and maybe it's not attractive, but it's very useful. This is just how it would be on a daily basis. Eggshells, scraps, newspaper, or any kind of paper that I compost. The kids are outside. They're out playing. It's a pretty crisp December day. Yep, I think the more convenient you make composting, the more likely you are to do it. So you just incorporate it into your schedule. I mean, people are busy. There's a lot of decisions to be made. There's a lot of things to keep up with and caring for people. I have a granddaughter with special needs. I have 5 other grandchildren, a husband, a home. I mean, there's just always things to do. But I do think that composting is worth the time and energy to keep up with it. We probably get about at least 50 gallons or more of compost out of that little bin every year. And that's a lot of compost to use to amend out in our garden. If you had to go buy that would be quite expensive. And the nutrients in it, coming from just things that you took the time to compost. So I definitely think composting kitchen scraps is worth it. It's worth the time and the energy and the thought it takes to collect those little bits of scraps. You can use your coffee grounds, your tea bags, any ends and peelings of vegetables. I mean, you'd be surprised at how much really comes off of your vegetables and things when you're peeling them and trimming them up. And if you make it convenient to get to your little compost bin, whatever kind you choose, whether you make one or if it's just a pile that you can go and put your stuff in, that the kids or animals won't get into. Now, I don't compost any kind of grease or meat in mine. It's very close to the house, and I don't put anything like that in it because I don't want any animals to get in it. I just mainly, mine is paper and vegetable peelings, coffee grounds, tea bags, and things like that. So I don't really have anything, high in fat or any kind of grease or meat or anything like that in the compost bin. It's just a little kitchen compost bin. Well, thank you today for joining me today. I hope this encourages you to compost and to save all those little scraps and find a place to put them and make some free compost soil to mix with your soil to enrich your plants this year to use in your garden. Thank you for joining me, and as always, until next time.